On today's show, the Golden State Warriors, are they back? They're winning games again. Do you believe in them? They win against the Bucks. Then let's talk about the West play-in race. The Kings get a win against the Lakers. What is that shaping up in the Western Conference? Talk about that and more in today's Locked On NBA. Let's go.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome. You are locked on to the NBA. My name is Nick Angstadt, host of the Locked On Mavericks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show, making Locked On NBA your first listen today, where the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day, leave a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you listen to, like the video on YouTube, and comment anything below. Let us know in the comment section, do you believe in the Golden State Warriors again? Are you back? If you're a Warriors fan, did you leave and then come back? Curious what you thought of that. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. And joining me as always on a Thursday, host of Locked On Bulls. What you got for me, Pat the Designer?
Bulls beat David Locke's Jazz. That's all I got. That's all I got. That's all I can have. I don't have much on the season. It's all I have. That's all I have. Don't fire me.
Since David isn't here to defend himself, I'll just drop a little Jordan pushed off.
I mean, listen, we know he pushed off. It's okay. You lost the championship. He pushed off. It is what it is. It was more of a guidance than a push, but still.
So on today's show, we'll talk about another legend, not the GOAT, the second GOAT, LeBron James. He leaves the game against the Kings with an injury, and the Lakers lose to the Kings. We'll talk about the West play-in race. What's that looking like down there with the Kings, the Mavericks, the Lakers, and the Warriors? So we'll talk about that, how it's shaping up. Then let's play Count It Up, where we count out the most interesting, fun things in the NBA, including a Warrior himself, Chris Paul, guarantees he's going to win a championship. Do you buy it or not? And the most, I'm excited about this, the most random players to score 20 points in a quarter over the last 5 years. I'll be shocked if you guess any of these. We'll play that, count it up a little bit later. But let's start here. The Golden State Warriors get a bounce back win against the Milwaukee Bucks. They lose by 50 to the Celtics. They win by 35 against the Milwaukee Bucks. How did the Warriors bounce back in this one?
Listen, you needed somebody else to step up. Stephen Curry, you knew what he was going to bring. He's been balling the entire time. Had a tough game the other day, right? Real tough game the other day. But for the most part, Stephen Curry has been Stephen Curry. And you've just been wondering who's going to be that other guy to step up. Tonight, the first half that you got from Jonathan Kuminga, I mean, that's exactly what you've been looking for. A guy who was just in the right place at the right time, able to knock down a couple of three-pointers for you. To me, I thought how he attacked the rim, how he kept the pressure down low on the Milwaukee Bucks, really put them on the back foot, especially with Giannis coming back from that Achilles injury. Seemed like he wasn't moving as well early on, and then kind of as it got towards the middle of the game, maybe he was moving a little better, but by then the damage was done. It was time to pull him and put in the other Antetokounmpo, who's doing thanalysis over there on the bench every time. He's just
there was a moment in this game where it looked like Giannis may have gotten fouled. And nobody, like Giannis kind of turned around and was like, I should have got that foul. And like nobody on the team is responding. And just the only player that stands up on the bench is Thanasis.
Yeah.
Just is like screaming at the ref. And I was like, what a job that guy had.
I love Thanasis. I'm not going to lie to you, bro, because it's just like, what's your goal in life? Just be as extra as possible for every moment I'm on an NBA camera.
Literally the backup quarterback of NBA jobs. The Chase Daniel of NBA players right there.
He is my favorite dude in the NBA because it's just like anytime he gets any screen time, he's like, here we go. It's like, why'd you go with that bar? What was the vogue that you did there at half court? What was that? But no, I love the job that Kuminga did, and I think that it's good to see somebody stepping up a little bit more consistently on this Warriors team outside of Stephen Curry.
Kuminga has been huge for him. I mean, 20 points in this one, only played 25. He only had to play 25 minutes in this one because it was a resounding win for him. But he filled up the box score. 20 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks. His athleticism and his get around, it's so life-giving to this Warriors team because they were playing older guys. They're playing Steph and Clay. And Steph's so fast, but Clay and Wiggins kind of floats around. It doesn't really have that same kind of quickness, athleticism. Draymond is doing his thing. They had Looney in there, and like it just felt slow a lot of the times. That's not what Warriors basketball has been. And so to add that kind of athleticism in there, I felt like really gave him a boost. And then he only played 18 minutes, but I think Trayce Jackson-Davis had a huge impact on this game. The Warriors had they built up a 22-point lead around halftime, and then the Bucks came out kind of in a fury and cut it to 6 in the third quarter. But then Trayce Jackson-Davis gets put in, and his defense was just massive. He had 4 blocks in this game, blocked Giannis a couple of times, and this is where you talked about Giannis wasn't looking right. There was a play where Trayce Jackson-Davis blocks Giannis at the rim at one end, and then he gets a dunk on the other end when Giannis is between him and the rim, and it just looked weird that Giannis couldn't get either of those buckets to either stop on one end or to get the bucket on the other. But I thought Trayce Jackson-Davis had such a big impact in this one, especially in that third. And I think that's how they got this win.
No, yeah, and I think, listen, when you look at a guy like Trayce Jackson-Davis, like, to me, the thing that I love about him is he's always ready. He's always prepared because he's been, right, he had gotten to a point where he was pretty much playing every night in heavy minutes, and then that kind of has just gone away, right? It dealt with a couple of tweaks here and there, but coming back in, has gotten a couple of minutes here or there, little spot minutes here, maybe getting 5 minutes, some games not getting any minutes at all. But when they've called his number, him being able to step up and go out there and make an impact, I love the fact that this guy is just always ready. And he's a guy who early in the season, right, me and you had talked about before, how he's really somebody who had kind of kept the Warriors while they were going through all the injury issues that they were dealing with afloat. That guy who was helping out with Stephen Curry out there, who seemed to be by himself in so many games. So love the impact that he's been able to provide this season. And even in moments where it's like, hey, listen, we need 18 out of you tonight. He was like, I played 0 yesterday. You need 18 tonight? Like right now? Like, all right, well, here's 18. And he goes out there and gives you some really, really good production.
Gives a call to Dale and Antonio Davis and is like, all right, what do I got? How can I do this? The other thing I think, so the Warriors have won 14 out of the last 18 games. So they really picked it up recently since they started the season pretty terribly. That's why they're in the play-in race entirely. And that's the number 1 record in the NBA since January 30th, by the way, 14-4. One of the reasons why I think is Draymond. I think Draymond's still elite defensively. You saw it in this game. They've gone to you saw the starting lineup in this one. Draymond at center. They just gone completely to that against Brook Lopez and Giannis and Bobby Portis. Like, it just didn't matter because they have those bigger wings in Kuminga and Wiggins that really help in that area. And Draymond's just really, really good defensively and just really made an impact in this game, I thought, too.
Yeah, no, Draymond's impact is definitely felt. I think that when you look at the last 18 to 20 games, though, let's be honest, a little bit misleading, right? There's a lot of teams in there that you look at and say, maybe the Warriors should win those games, right? I know that they've been struggling. I know that they've been down, but the teams that they've lost to, I think, speak more of a story, right? The losses in that time, Sacramento, Lakers, Clippers, they lost to the Clippers again, Boston, badly to Boston, right? Like you're talking about losing to those teams that we expect to be around near the end of the season. I love the run that they've been on. I think now, right after tonight, seeing a fully healthy Warriors team, this is the first time Warriors have been healthy, I want to say, since January. Seeing a fully healthy Warriors team, maybe the tide can turn, but I don't know if I'm over. I love the record that they're doing, but I feel like they're beating a lot of the teams they're supposed to beat in that time versus going out there and beating those upper echelon guys. And they got some good wins in there as well. Win over the Knicks, you know what I mean? But like a lot of those losses you see, it's like, yeah, those are the losses I would expect this team to have.
Coming from somebody that covers a team, the Dallas Mavericks, in the same geographical area in the standings as the Warriors are right now, you take wins against anybody, right? Especially if you can string together wins. And so I think Draymond coming back from that other suspension coincides with this streak of them winning the 14 out of 4 games. Like, he came back, they played 4 games, and then they've gone on this tear. I think it just comes down to that he is just so impactful for this team. And so I think that's what it really came down to. But Warriors, I thought this was a really good win for them. National TV coming out, beating the Bucks like that, and getting some contributions from some of their rookies is just a really good win all around.
Oh yeah, listen, and like you said, any win you can get is a good win. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be glad that they got a win like this. And I think a win like this versus the Bucks is the best way you can get a bounce back win. Yeah, we got trounced by the best team in the Eastern Conference, but when you look at one of those other top teams in the Eastern Conference, we were able to handle them mightily. We just had an off night. You almost feel like, yeah, it was an off night. It was a bad night for us, even though it was a horrible night for you. You feel a little bit better about it because you're able to bounce back while getting everybody healthy, while looking back like the Warriors that we've seen of the past, and it was a dominant win the entire way through. The Bucks kind of made it a little bit interesting. I think at one point it got to a 7-point game, 6-point game.
In the third quarter,
yeah, like it got a little interesting, but then like it never felt like it's over.
No, the Warriors just had an answer every single time, and that was huge for them. Coming up, let's talk about another team that didn't have an answer, the Lakers against the Kings. We'll talk about what the Kings did right, the Lakers did wrong, and how the West play-in is shaping up. Talk about that and more coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by Nissan. Are you the kind of driver that likes to push things a little further? Ever wonder what adventure could be around the corner? Like your team making it back to the playoffs.
Yeah.
What's that like, Pat?
Shut up.
Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capability to take your adventure to the next level. Check out the 2024 Nissan Rogue. It's perfect if you just need to get out of town. You just need to leave the city limits of Chicago and for great escapes. They've got the Google built in, so you have the Assistant, the Google Maps, Google Play Store. You don't have to connect your phone anymore. You can use all that in the car. And the 2024 Rogue is the perfect midsize crossover for your next adventure. Also, check out the 2024 Nissan Pathfinder. Room for up to 8, expansive cargo capacity, advanced capable 4x4 capability with 284 horsepower, 6,000 pounds of towing. When adventure calls, the Pathfinder is there to give you the answer. Take Nissan Rogue, the Nissan Pathfinder, or the Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. Again, shop NissanUSA.com. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us on Locked On NBA, being part of this show and being an everydayer, listening every day. Appreciate each and every one of you. Go check out our Locked On Sports Today 24/7 stream on Amazon Fire TV as well as YouTube, the Locked On Sports Today YouTube channel. All right, Pat, let's talk about the Lakers versus the Kings. Kings get the win, 130-120. The Lakers had a 19-point lead in the first quarter. Just looked like one of those games where, oh man, here we go. The Lakers just running all over them. The Kings don't have an answer. The Kings have lost some weird games recently where you go, man, why did they lose to that team?
Which one was weird? Which one? Don't you dare.
There was a Miami game in there where they were missing a bunch of guys. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Specifically remember a Locked On Kings I listened to. But Malik Monk and the Kings started slicing up the Lakers. Their bench was just absolutely insane in this one. I think they had like 50-something bench points in this one. They went on a 21-2 run in the second quarter and ended up building up to a 22-point lead overall. What did you see from the Kings in this game?
I mean, listen, the Kings were who the Kings were. Like, I'm not surprised by this. And they're a team that has a tale of two defenses. And this is the problem that they had in the playoffs last season. This is the problem that they've continued to have this season. There are times where the Sacramento Kings go out there and they do a great job guarding the perimeter. They attack they do a great job blitzing shooters. They do a great job locking down the paint. And then there are other times, like in the first quarter, where you're just like, hey, did you guys know that there was like basketball on both sides of the court? Like, did you have any idea about that? I think when you look,
we went to basketball without borders. That means it doesn't matter what happens on one side.
I think when you look at the second quarter of that Lakers game where they're able to get back, that is King style basketball right now, right? Where of course the 44 points are going to help you a lot, but just how they continue to keep the Lakers on an absolute run, how defensively they were much more active. It was almost like, they just all of a sudden woke up. I really thought that was more of kind of what we've seen with the Kings, where we don't have to play a ton of defense, but we have to play enough defense that offensively we're going to put you so far back on your heels that you're going to try to make quick decisions to keep up with us. And now once you do that, we know you can't keep up with us. So now we're just going to be able to put you away. And I think that's all the Kings need to do. A little bit of that much defense. I mean, they got a 117 defensive rating on the season. Like you'll be able to outscore more teams than not defensive with a 117 defensive rating, but it needs to be more prevalent throughout the games than just in kind of those one quarters where they can put you away.
Yeah, when they have one of these games where they can just relentlessly score on you, that puts the other team's offense. It felt like the Lakers at times were like, oh my God, we have to keep up with this team. We have to keep scoring. And that kind of makes you in panic offense mode, which is just not the best thing. And so then it seemed like only LeBron could get them like in the right way, right? And Rui Hachimura was taking advantage of some of the attention LeBron got too. Rui had 29 this game. LeBron had 31. De'Aaron Fox, 44 points, just leading the way on the other side. They just kept relentlessly scoring and scoring and scoring. Sabonis, 16 points, 20 rebounds, 12 assists. I'll throw the question at you. This is an early bonus. Count it up. Just an early bonus
for Sabonis.
An early bonus, count it up. Another triple-double. League leading 22 triple-doubles now for Sabonis. You get to rank 5 players for your MVP vote, basically. Like the real voters get to rank 5. Would you give Sabonis one of your 5 votes for MVP?
No.
You want to spend time thinking about that?
No. it's not even a question. I would go Shea. I would go
number 1.
Yeah, I'd go Shea number 1 right now. I love what he's doing. I love how he's playing. And he's willing his team to the top of the Western Conference. Like you can't overlook that. I would go Shea. I would go Jokic. I would go Giannis. I would go Tatum. And no, I have to move everyone down 1. I just thought about this. I would go Shea, I would go Luka, and then I would go the rest of my list. Yeah. So I think those are the 5 right now. Like I don't think that Sabonis is even in the running right now.
I don't think Luka's gonna get there. I would put him 2 right now as well. I'll put Jokic 1. I would put Shea 3, and then I would probably put Giannis. And then I'm going. I think I would think about Sabonis for a second. A lot of triple doubles, making an impact on the team.
Over Tatum?
I would probably go him over Tatum. What does he mean? What does he mean to that team? There's a stat going around of how terrible Tatum's shooting in the clutch this season. Like if you watch the Celtics game, he does not have to do a lot.
Yeah, I think that's also the thing too, right?
Not valuable enough.
I saw the stat where like he's shooting terribly in the clutch, and I was like, how many clutch games have they played? Like the Bulls have played 36 clutch games. How many clutch games?
He's 2 for 7. Whatever it is, I don't know what it is.
I could care less about what he's doing in the clutch. You know why he's not spending a lot of time in the clutch? Because he's sitting in the 4th quarter.
Beat teams by 50. Let's look at the West play-in though. Kings, Mavs, Warriors, Lakers. Those would be the first 2 games right now. Let's just go for it. Kings, Mavs. What do you think about that matchup to start? 1 game.
That's tough. Because this is a purely, I think they go into it with a handshake agreement that no one's going to play defense.
They don't have to shake about that.
I think
it was in the meeting notes before. It was agreed upon at the schedule of the Zoom meeting.
Oh my gosh. It's in the script. That game will end 146, 141. I'm gonna say Kings because I don't think that the Mavs have enough to contend with Sabonis down low.
Kings are 2-0 against the Mavs this season, so I would agree with you. Although they have not faced since the Gafford, PJ Washington trades, and so it's a different Mavericks team that you're playing, and so I think they're a little bit more prepared to face that team now than they were before. But yeah, it is going to be tough for the Mavericks, and the Kings are a team we just mentioned. If the Kings can score on you, then they just score on you, and they don't stop, and they keep coming at you. They have multiple options, in this game. 50 points off the bench for them.
Yeah.
They had 26 from Monk, 12 from Davion Mitchell, who had 4 threes in this one. And the Mavs just don't have those multiple offensive options. They've got Luka and Kyrie. Great. Awesome. Great. But then they don't have that third guy that can come at you and do it just like Monk could. And so I think I would go with you on that it would be tough and come down to the end, but I don't know.
Just a quick tidbit. This is tough. Just a quick tidbit. Domantas Sabonis versus PJ Walker has only not gotten a double-double. I'm sorry, PJ Washington has only not gotten a double-double twice. He's got 9 matchups against them. He averages 20, 14, and 6.
He wouldn't be guarding him one-on-one. It would be Lively, and then it would be Maxey, Kleba probably, and Gafford as well.
You can send as many people as you want at him.
It's going to be a problem. It's definitely going to be a problem. Honestly, both of them are problems. Fox and Sabonis in the past have been, the Mavs struggled defending point of attack, and like jump shooting centers, which I guess Sabonis isn't as much. Lakers Warriors. Let's be the only national show to spend only 1 minute on this instead of like 40 minutes.
Oh God.
This Warriors team is playing much better, and I think I would pick them.
I would probably go Warriors in this as well. I would probably say Lakers Warriors would be a very much lower scoring game than Kings Mavs.
Just a little.
Because there will be a smidgen of defense, but I think that it'd be around the 115, 108 area where the Warriors win convincingly enough to know that the Warriors won.
The depth of the Warriors, I think, would be a struggle for the Mavericks. Like, I'd be interested to see how a Trace Jackson Davis, if he doesn't even play in a game like this. Oh yeah, the depth for the Warriors would be overwhelming for the Lakers, I think. Yeah. I would be interested to see how a Brandon Podziemski, rookie, playing in one game like that. How a Kuminga, who's just kind of risen into the spot. He's played in big games before, but he hasn't been like the second leading scorer in one of these big games. And would Podziemski or would Trace Jackson Davis play in these? I could be curious how that would play out, but I think I would pick the Warriors right now just because of how they're playing at this point. There it is, West playing, man, and then you'd get Mavs Warriors, which is a rematch of the Western Conference Finals from 2 years ago.
A straight
in
war
in the play-in.
Straight war. Dog.
Oh my gosh, that would cause me to lose a lot of sleep. I think. I think that game. Oh man! All right, coming up, let's play Count It Up, where we count on the most interesting, fun things in the NBA, including is Chris Paul ever going to win a ring? And Jason Kidd made a reference that I think Pat will get, but not a lot of people in my world got it, and I had to explain this story a lot. Wild Jason Kidd quote that was not as wild if you actually know. But we'll talk about that and more coming up. Before you, let me tell you about Game Time. Game Time has the tickets for you to go to concerts, to go to comedy shows, to go to all kinds of different things and sporting events as well. Go check it out. You get last minute ticket deals, all in prices, views from your seat. They're best price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Go check it out. See all of it right away. You know exactly what you're getting. They've got zone deals, so you pick the section. Game Time picks the seats for you for big savings. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDON, locked on, for $20 off. I've used Game Time before. I've used it a bunch. I've used my code already. Like I know that I've used Game Time because every time I try to use it again and I try the code, it's like, you've already used this. Dang it. That's right. Keep coming back to it. I got tickets for a musical earlier this year that I was able to get on Game Time. So it's not just sporting events. It's all kinds of stuff. Download Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. All right, Pat. Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On NBA. We've got a daily Locked On show that covers your team. Check the link in the description to find a show that covers your team every day here at Locked On. It's that time of the week where we count up the most interesting, fun things in the NBA, including
Big Chicken, baby.
Zion Williamson and porn star.
Take that for that.
Count it up. Count it up. Count it up. Count it up. Count it up.
This week, Chris Paul said, quote, "I'm going to win a championship before I'm done. Yes, absolutely. I can't even process not winning a championship." Chris Paul is in his, 19th season in the NBA?
Yep.
He's 38. He's going to be 39 in May. My question is,
Count it up.
how much do you believe him? Scale of 0, I don't believe him at all, to 5. I absolutely agree with him. He's going to win a title before his career is done.
Does he mean when he's done with the game of basketball or just playing?
I'm going to win a championship before I'm done. Yes, absolutely. I think playing.
Ooh, because I don't know where he's going to end his career at, and I think the Warriors championship window has finally closed up, kind of without it, how they're looking right now at this point in the season. I gotta say no. Like maybe like after this whole Warriors thing is done, he attaches himself to somebody that's just a clear cut. Like
we don't have those.
They look like they're gonna win. That's what I'm saying. Like maybe he attaches himself to one of those teams, and he's just a guy that's like a player coach off the bench. But like, I don't think he'll win as being a prime player on the court or a focal point on the court.
Yeah, this is a 1 for me. 1 out of 5. Because I just it's not a 0. Like I could see it happening. It's just so hard for these buyout. Like even if he becomes like a buyout guy and goes to somebody, you have to guess who's going to win the title. It's just so hard for somebody to do that before the season or even in the middle of the season to try and figure that out. But yeah, Chris Paul. Let me know if you think he's going to win a title.
No.
This week, Jason Kidd has been going through it. I don't think he should be the coach of the Mavericks anymore, but you can go listen to Locked On Mavs about that. Tim Hardaway Jr.
I've only been saying that for 3 years.
Also been since he got hired, basically. Tim Hardaway Jr. has also been going through it. Terrible shooting, not going very well. And so Jason Kidd was asked about this, and he said, "We all know Timmy's not shooting the ball well. Maybe we'll watch Major League and get him some Kentucky Fried Chicken and put that in his locker." My question is, did you understand the reference?
Yeah, but don't be dumb. Yes, I get the reference. Yes, I love Major League. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
I cannot tell you. I'm at Mavs games. I talk to a lot of people at Mavs games. A lot of Mavs fans that listen to the show come up and we'll talk. I cannot tell you how many times I had to explain this to other media members and to Mavs fans that were like, did Jason Kidd just say we should give fried chicken to Tim Hardaway Jr.? If you think about it without the context of the movie, it is a wild quote.
Well, first off, here's the thing. It's not that wild when a black guy says it to another black guy.
It's true.
Like,
also true.
Jason
if you don't know that about Jason Kidd, that's very
black. Like if you're looking at Jason Kidd and you're going, definitely from two white parents. Get your eyes checked. First off, you need a new show. Second off, it's still a wild statement. Maybe clarify it. But yes, it's when Willie Mays Hayes was too scared to do the same ritual.
He wanted to sacrifice a whole chicken.
A whole chicken.
And instead, he brought him a bucket of KFC.
Yes.
Instead.
So
they didn't want to have blood in the locker room.
Are we too far away from great Major League references though? Are you telling me Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball?
That what movie, a great movie came out in 1989. Tim Hardaway Jr. was not even born when that movie came out, but. All right.
Maybe Tim Hardaway's a fan of Major League, and that's where the joke comes in. Maybe that's all.
I think Jason Kidd knows Tim Hardaway Jr. well enough to know his favorite movie?
Oh, wow.
I don't think so.
Oh, wow. Only been coaching him for what, 3 years now? It's kind of crazy. It's like he's not a good coach. Like I said, some Mavs fans.
Some are saying.
The day that they hired him.
No, I think we were on this show, and there's several red flags. All right, here's my last one. I'm excited about this one. Dean Wade.
Anytime you start with the other D Wade, it's just great. Let's go.
Dean Wade, not D Wade. 20 points in a fourth quarter the other night to help the Cavs get a win. My question is, who is the most random player with 20 points in a quarter the last 5 seasons? Are you ready for this? I'm going to see if you can. Oh my gosh. This is so random how many of these players have scored 20 points in any quarter at all. Okay. Dean Wade did it. Max Strus did it. Denny Avdia has done it.
Right.
Seth Curry has done it. Evan Fournier. You got to tell me which is the most random one of these. Evan Fournier has done it.
Okay.
The aforementioned potential Major League fan, Tim Hardaway Jr. has done it. Jaden Hardy of the Mavericks has done it. Damian Lee has done it. Scored 20 points in a quarter. Brandon Boston Jr. has scored 20 points.
That's a good one.
In a quarter this season. He did it in January.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Jordan Nora has done it.
Okay. Yeah.
Gary Bird, Garrison Matthews has done it. Scored 20 points in a quarter.
No relation to Larry Bird.
The former collegiate tight end, Ish Wainwright, has scored 20 points in a quarter. This was in 2022 last season.
It's between Ish Wainwright right now and who's the other one I said? Freaking
Brandon Boston Jr.
Brandon Boston Jr. Those are the two.
All right, I got one to beat all of them.
Okay.
Paul Watson. Not Peyton Watson. Paul Watson in 2021 scored, and this is just the last 5 years, by the way. Scored 20 points in a quarter for the Raptors against the Orlando Magic. He does not play in the NBA anymore. Paul Watson scored 20 points in a quarter. I just thought it was insane how many random players have scored 20 whole points in a quarter.
Paul Watson's a wild one. Like, what a name pull. Yeah, that's the one to beat everybody. Like, what a name pull on that. He's not in the league anymore?
Not in the league anymore. He was...
what did he get? Like, he probably had
He was
4 years, 3
undrafted,
years?
started for the Hawks and the Raptors in the 2019-2020 season.
Yeah, I remember
Then he
that.
stayed with the Raptors. You remember Paul Watson with the Hawks and the Raptors?
Yeah, I have a problem, Nick. My wife has told me many a days that I have a problem.
How tall is Paul Watson?
6'5", 6'6".
Damn. You got it. 6'6", right on the money.
I have a problem, Nick. My wife came down the other day and was like, "Are you watching 1996 Chicago Bears highlights? We weren't a good team in '96." I was like, "Yeah." Somebody said something about Jim McMahon. She's like, "You have a problem," and just walked back upstairs in shame. Like I do this. Like it's not healthy.
Paul Watson. Can you imagine a guy in the league scores 20 points in a quarter, a year later, not in the NBA?
Yeah. I mean, like that's the conversation we had before. The last time it was when Danny Avdija scored 20, right? When we had the conversation on being able to score 20 points in the league. If you get that many shots, if you get the ball in your hands that many times, there's an opportunity. These guys are still like, even at the worst level of the NBA, they're still good basketball players. And especially when you're going up against, what was that, a 2021 Orlando Magic team? Ugh. Yes, like Nick, you probably could have scored 20 points in a quarter against that Magic team.
Me and Brandon Boston and Paul Watson.
Yeah, all together.
Do you want to guess since 2020, so the last 5 seasons, who has the most 20-point quarters?
Is this among like trash players or just in general?
No, the most. They have the most 20-point single quarters.
I would say Stephen Curry.
Curry is 4th. He has 14.
Okay. Trae Young on that list?
Trae Young is 8th. He has 10.
Okay.
I don't know why I gave you a ding.
I don't know.
I asked for the number 1.
Yeah, he's asking for 1. I'm getting dings out here. I was like, are we going top 10?
You just named a player that was on the list
top
somewhere.
20.
Number 1.
Number 1 play Kevin Durant?
Durant is he has 3.
Well, he probably hasn't
not
played
even
enough.
close.
Yeah,
Durant's not even in the top
enough.
20. So
he
he's
probably
25th.
hasn't played enough. Thanks for giving me a buzzer on that one.
There you go.
LeBron still in that list? LeBron still on that list?
LeBron has 3 as well.
Oh, they're getting older.
20 points in a quarter is kind of
20 points in a quarter is ridiculous. Like you have to be a special kind of scorer. Luka.
There it is. 20. He's had 20-point quarters since 2020.
How many of those games did they win? That's the stat you got to figure out.
They've been above 500. They've won more games than they lost.
The defense of it. They've been above 500. I didn't say they haven't. I'm just asking how many of those games did they win?
Devin Booker had 17. Damian Lillard 15. You mentioned Curry has 14. Embiid has 12. Zach LaVine, your boy, has 11.
I can see that. I was gonna say Levine, but I knew he wouldn't have been 1. Like when I thought we were just doing a list that like you started digging me for 8. I was like, oh, I guess I'm just doing a list. I would have said Levine, yeah.
There you go.
I'll bet you 5 of them are against Detroit.
Actually, I can click on it. Wait, hold on.
Okay, I'll bet you. See. Over under 3, I would say.
Okay, out of 11,
3 out of 11 are against Detroit. How many?
1.
Just 1?
1.
I'm surprised by that.
This season, 2023 in October.
I'm surprised by that. They must have finished at like 19 points or like 16.
It was
because he's cooked he's cooked Detroit on a regular basis in 1 quarter.
He's Atlanta, Brooklyn, Charlotte, Cleveland, Dallas, the one in 2021, Detroit, the Pelicans twice, the Thunder, and the Magic twice. There you go, Zach LaVine. I did not think we'd end with that, but there you go. 20 points in a quarter. Shout out to Dean Wade and shout out to Paul Watson for being the most random player in the last 5 years to score 20 points in a single quarter. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On NBA.
Bye-bye.
Boom.
Shout out to you for doubting my knowledge of Paul Watson.
Paul Watson. How tall is Paul Watson?
6'6".